The ayes have it. Call on Government Order of the Day number 4.
Arms, military-style semi-automatic firearms and import controls amendment bill, second reading.
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I move that the Arms, military-style semi-automatic firearms and import controls amendment bill be now read a second time. This bill amends the Arms Act 1983 to clarify the definition of military-style semi-automatic firearms, MSSAs, and places controls on the importation of air guns that look like real pistols, MSSAs, or restricted weapons. I'd like to thank the members of the Law and Order Select Committee, and in particular the Chair of the Committee, Jackie Dean, for returning this bill to the House in good time. I would also like to thank all those members of the public who took time to submit on the bill. Committee members have commented on the high quality of a number of the written and oral submissions that were received. The concerns of submitters were listened to by the committee, and many of these concerns have been reflected in the changes that the committee recommended. The bill does not seek to radically alter the status quo. What it will do is enhance the clarity of some provisions that relate to MSSAs and enhance public safety by reducing the availability of air guns that look like real pistols, MSSAs or restricted weapons. The bill will create clarity around the definition of an MSSA by wording the definition in positive terms as a semi-automatic firearm that has one or more specified features, rather than in negative terms with a list of features that a firearm in sporting configuration that is not an MSSA must be without. It also provides for the meaning of the term pistol grip to be spelt out clearly in regulations with the assistance of illustrations. The revised definition will return the interpretation of what is and is not an MSSA based on the style of stock back to what was generally understood and accepted by the firearms community between the passing of the 1992 Arms Act amendments in 2009. The bill also provides for the use of regulations to provide a mechanism for establishing an authoritative position on the status of particular firearms, types of firearms, and firearm characteristics that are creating confusion or are subject to dispute. The bill will require those who import air guns that can be mistaken for real pistols, restricted weapons or MSSAs to have a permit from police that allows their importation. A permit will only be granted if the Commissioner of Police is satisfied that there are special reasons why the air gun should be imported. Permits would also be issued to allow for the legitimate importation of air guns for sporting and collection purposes and the like. This will reduce the ready availability of these types of air guns for criminal purposes. The bill's restrictions on the importation of air guns will not apply to air guns that are clearly designed to be used for airsoft and paintball sports and could not be mistaken for real pistols, MSSAs or restricted weapons. It is also intended that these provisions would not restrict the importation of air guns that are clearly manufactured solely as toys. These tend to not look anything like real pistols, MSSAs or restricted weapons. The Law and Order Committee recommended a number of amendments which will clarify the intentions of the bill. Firstly, the definition of the term military-style semi-automatics has been modified to provide greater technical accuracy and legal clarity and to make it clear as to the scope of the regulation-making powers. A definition of the term semi-automatic firearm has also been included that more accurately reflects the operation of a semi-automatic firearm. Secondly, a change to the wording of the bill to clarify the provisions relating to magazine capacity has been made. And thirdly, the committee recommended amendments to the bill to make it clear that the new description of restricted air guns, which will require a permit to import, is intended to include those that have the appearance whether with attachments or without attachments, of being a pistol, restricted weapon or MSSA, and that it is not necessary for such air guns to have the appearance of any particular model of pistol, restricted weapon, MSSA or firearm capable of full automatic fire. Amendments were also made to make it clear that permits would not be required to import parts of restricted air guns, but only the air guns themselves. A number of submitters expressed a range of concerns about the proposal in Clause 11 of the bill to extend the regulation-making powers in Section 74 of the Principal Act. The committee listened carefully to these concerns and recommended that an additional layer of parliamentary scrutiny should apply to 3 of the 4 proposed regulation-making powers. This is to apply to regulations declaring particular makes and models of firearms, or firearms of a stated description to be MSSAs, and regulations declaring particular features of firearms to be features of an MSSA. The committee has recommended that any regulations made by order in council under new section 74A B to D of the Principal Act be confirmed by statute within a specified period. Such confirmation, usually through a subordinate legislation confirmation and validation bill, would provide Parliament with an opportunity to consider the policy behind the regulations that need to be confirmed. If Parliament did not confirm the regulations, they would become invalid. The committee recommended that a consequential amendment be made to the Arms Regulation 1992 to ensure that licensed dealers kept records of restricted air guns received for sale, repair or modification, or that are manufactured by the dealer, in the same manner they record those particulars for firearms, pistols, MSSAs and restricted weapons. The committee heard from a number of submitters who indicated that they would like representatives from the New Zealand firearms community to have formal input when regulations relating to firearms use or restrictions are being considered. The committee agreed that improving the level and quality of consultation between police and members of the firearms community would be a positive step that would assist with the development of practical firearms policies. As a result of this, I am informed that police has started actively exploring the establishment of an arms advisory forum. The intention is that this group would provide a forum for input to the police from the firearms community on legal and policy issues relating to firearms and would be convened whenever a relevant issue arose. In conclusion, Mr Speaker, the Arms Military-Style Semi-Automatic Firearms and Import Controls Amendment Bill improves the ability of the Arms Act 1983 to continue to take into account the interests of legitimate firearms users, whilst at the same time protecting the public from the harmful use of firearms. Clarifying the definition of MSSAs is in the interests of gun owners, as it removes uncertainties around which of their firearms will involve additional requirements for their possession. At the same time, it improves the ability of the Arms Act to apply controls on the possession of MSSAs. I am confident that restricting the importation of air guns that can be mistaken for real pistols, restricted weapons or MSSAs will limit their availability for criminal use and improve public safety. The bill has emerged from the Law and Order Committee with a number of changes as a result of the committee's careful consideration of points raised by submitters. This has strengthened the bill, Mr Speaker, and I commend the bill to the House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to.
Mr Speaker.
Chris Farfaway.
Mr Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to be the first